So if you guys are unaware, there was a situation that was happening with Tony Hawk 3 and 4, the brand new editions that are coming out really soon. And there was a big issue surrounding one of the skaters in the game, Bam Margera. Now, Bam Margera was one of my favorite skaters back in the day when I was playing the original Tony Hawk games. And it was quite unfortunate to find out that he was not going to be in Tony Hawk 3 and 4. A lot of us were assuming different reasons as to why that may be, because quite frankly, we don't know, right? Bam Margera has an extremely troubled past. The guy has obviously been on drugs, alcohol, all kinds of nonsense. He's been a very problematic figure. I also believe that he's heavily right-leaning, but that's besides the point. I don't know if his removal was because of his image, or I don't know if his removal was because of his political leanings. I have absolutely no idea. What we do know is that he was being removed from Tony Hawk 3 and 4, and he's not in the game. Well, apparently, Tony Hawk has decided that that's not going to happen. And he put his foot down and forced Activision to put Bam Margera back into the game. If you needed any other reason to like Tony Hawk more than you probably already did in the past, this is just another one. Tony Hawk has absolutely destroyed Activision and forced them to put Bam Margera back in the game. This is supposedly a rumor, but again, take it with a grain of salt. But if it's true, Tony Hawk is the freaking GOAT. So let's get into this article, guys, from the VGC. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So the headline reads, Bam Margera will be in Tony Hawk 3 and 4. After all, after Hawk intervened, it's claimed Tony Hawk reportedly demanded that Activision put the troubled skater in the game. Earlier this year, when Activision first announced the Remake Collection, it also announced a list of skaters planned to be featured in the game. This list included every classic skater originally featured in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, except for one, Bam Margera, known for his roles in Jackass, Viva La Bam, and the Tony Hawk series, was seemingly missing. Now, here's the ironic thing that made me feel like this was some sort of, this was definitely motivated by something. I don't know what. But ironically, Bam Margera's brother was going to be in the game, but not Bam, right? Bam was one of the most popular skaters back in the day. Everybody played as Bam Margera. We loved Bam Margera back in the day. And for him not to be in Tony Hawk's 3 and 4 is absolutely insane, especially when you're going to have all the original music and whatnot. There is no reason not to include this man, regardless of his supposed troubled past. There's no reason not to do it. I really wanted to know what was the reason that Activision decided to not put him in the game. I feel like that would give us, much more context. But let's be real. If Activision is not telling you, that means it's something they don't want you to know. But whatever that reason may be, it's probably going to be something that's going to make them look bad and not make Bam look bad. But now, during a live stream on the Live Club Skating podcast, it's been claimed that Bam was added to the game at the last minute after Tony Hawk demanded he be included. Well, here's what happened, explained co-host Roger Bagley. The game was already done. Tony called up Activision and was like, hey, we're putting Bam in the thing. And they were like, hey, we can't. He goes, no, you're going to do it. And basically made them fly Bam back out to get body scan and everything else and get him back into the game. So this might be news that's not out there yet, though. Co-host Chris Roberts then asked, probably. Bagley replied, bro, think about the absolute destruction that Tony Hawk, oh my God, dude, what fucking balls in this guy. This is amazing. But truthfully speaking, Activision needs Tony Hawk more than Tony Hawk needs Activision, right? At this point, they want to release these games. They've already announced these games. They don't want problems, and they are going to be forced to have to put Bam in the game because they don't want problems, right? They're not going to advertise Bam. Let's be very clear. They're not going to advertise him. They're not going to make a trailer. They're not going to use him as a DLC. They're not going to do anything like that. They're just going to put him in the game and be quiet as hell and let Tony Hawk have his way. That's what they're going to do. Bam Margera has faced a string of health and legal issues in the recent years due to issues related to substance abuse. He was fired from Jackass Forever, after which he was issued with a restraining order from Jackass director Jeff Tremaine. Tremaine had previously fought for years to include Margera in the reunion film, and then it was believed that he was likely the reason why Margera was seemingly missing from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake announcement. But shortly after the game's announcement, an image was posted online showing Margera reuniting with Hawk at his skate park, giving fans a slight hope that he may be in there after all. Listen, you cannot have Tony Hawk 3 and 4 without Bam Margera. If there is no Bam, dude, I saw so many people online melting down, rightfully so, about the removal of BAM. People were talking about it like crazy. I didn't get to make a video about it, but I did do a live stream talking about it. And it's true. Like, you need to have BAM in the game. There's no reason not to have him in the game. This game is based on something that happened years ago, right? Years ago. And if you are going to put every other skater that I guarantee you has problematic histories and pasts as well, for the most part, then you should be putting BAM in the game as well. It's not like this guy fucking killed anybody. You know what I mean? You should put him in the game, and people enjoyed playing as him. So I got gifted Tony Hawk 3 and 4 by a subscriber. Thank you so much for that. Seriously, it's amazing. And I will be playing as BAM. There's no doubt about it. He was one of my favorite skaters of all time back in the Tony Hawk days, and I loved playing as him. But I'll put it to you like this, guys. I highly doubt that Activision is going to make a statement on this. I know people are probably wanting Activision to make a statement on this, but like I said before, I think they're going to be very quiet about this. I don't think they're going to come out and publicly say, oh, yeah, we didn't put BAM in the game because, you know, he's problematic. Yeah, they're not going to do that because, number one, they could get absolutely fucking sued. And number two, they just want this to go quietly under the rug so that way Tony Hawk could get what he wants and then Activision could get what they want, which is sales. They want to sell this game through and through. I don't know how well the first one did, but I got to imagine 3 and 4 is a lot of people's favorites. It's probably going to sell more than 1 and 2 did. If we look at the numbers on Steam right now, it actually didn't do that great, in my opinion. 1,804 concurrent players on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. But again, I got to imagine that 3 and 4 is a lot more popular with people and has a lot more nostalgia behind it. So the numbers are probably going to be a bit higher than this for that particular video game. I don't know what the budget is for this game. I don't know how much money they're investing in this game. I got to imagine it's not that much, since essentially it's a it's a remake, but there's still essentially not, there's a lot of development that's cut down, essentially, is what I'm saying. So I don't think it's going to be that high to make these kind of video games, but I still don't know if they made their money back with the first one. I got to imagine it's not that great. They probably dragged their feet to a few 100,000 copies sold, but there was a lot of interest. 140,935 people were interested in watching this game on Twitch 4.5 years ago when it first released. That's not a small amount of people. That's only 30,000 less than Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and that was one of the most controversial games of all time. So you got to imagine that a lot of people were curious about this game, but for some reason, even though there were so many people watching the game, it didn't translate to sales, at least not immediately. Probably a lot of people realized that they're going to wait for a sale before they pick up this game, which is why the sale estimates are so much higher than the actual concurrent player count. You got to look at all the numbers together to get the full idea of what actually is going on here. But ultimately, guys, you know, you got 90% positive reviews. I'm sure the second one is going to do better than this. And I just hope that it is true that they are putting BAM in the game. And if it is true that BAM is in the game, you could bet your ass I will be playing as Bam Margera when the game releases. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.